Welcome to the Streets and People podcast presented by Get Around Cabo Car Free. Get Around Cabo Car Free is a volunteer community movement advocating for more transport options for people who can't drive in Caboolture and Morayfield in Queensland. In today's podcast, we'll be covering one of these three broad topics. It might be Road Rules 360, where we discuss Queensland's road rules, the legislation, the design for people walking, biking, in wheelchairs or on a scooter. It might be Not Everyone Drives, where we chat with people whose transport options don't include a car in a car-dependent society. And it might be People and Projects, where our conversations are with people working on a specific aspect of inclusive transportation. Today we're doing one of our Not Everyone Drives episodes. We're at a school and the sound was not great and there are bells ringing and the quality was generally not as I would have liked. So please bear with us. The message that the students say is absolutely fantastic, but I do apologise for the audio quality. Thanks for listening. I'm here at Caboolture High School and we are talking with three people from the Student Representative Council, I think. Yep. So if you would just like to introduce yourselves and say why you're interested in talking about transportation.
I'm Dante, one of the Environmental Student Council.
I'm Christine and I'm the Secretary for the Caboolture Student Council.
I'm George and I'm the Sports Coordinator for this Caboolture Student Council.
And what year are you in high school?
So we're all in year 11.
Okay, and who lives in Caboolture? Who lives in Morayfield?
I'm the only one who lives in Morayfield.
But you guys both otherwise live here in Caboolture?
Yeah.
And how do you get to school? Do you come by scooter, bicycle, walking, bus?
I usually take the bus or either get dropped off by my parents.
Most of the time I get dropped off by either my mum or dad.
I have three. So sometimes I would walk, sometimes I would bike, and also I get dropped off too. So it depends on those three, yeah.
Okay, so you were the only one who uses a bicycle, is that correct?
Yep.
And in terms of security, like locking it up, have you ever had it stolen? Have you found it okay to park and that it is secure?
Yeah, there's a couple places to park, but if I go to outside school, there's not much to park.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes, mostly on Friday after school, we finish early. I would go to the Starbucks and there's not much park around the school to park our bikes.
Yeah. And so in terms of you feeling that your bicycle is secure, how does that make you feel? If say for instance Starbucks put in some bike racks, do you think you would go there more often?
Yeah, because if there's no place to park the bike, then I wouldn't go there because you don't feel like there's safe.
Yeah.
And you feel like the bike will be stolen.
So there's a lot of research which says that when companies, shops, put bicycle racks in there and they make it bicycle friendly, their business increases by 1/3. So they get 1/3 more business just from doing that. So this is a perfect example of that experience. And so you said bicycle and you said walking and you said
Car transport as well.
car. Now, say for instance your parents couldn't afford a car, how would you get here to school?
I do catch the train as well sometimes, but that's really uncommon because I do have two younger siblings who go to the Caboolture East school, which is down the road.
Yeah.
So I walk to pick them up. But when it's just me at home, when they switch over to my dad's house, I catch the train.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only other way I would have to get to school sometimes is the train.
So if you go from your house to the train station, I'm assuming Morayfield train station, how long does that take you?
5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, that's quite quick.
Yeah.
And what are the footpaths like? Do you have to cross over the road for pedestrian crossings?
Yeah, there's like two sides of traffic, both one coming up and one coming down, and there's no pedestrian crossing, so most of the time it's either have to go all the way around, which takes I think 15 to 20 minutes, but if I wanted to go quicker I'd have to cut through the traffic and wait for the stop sign because there's another traffic going that way from my street and then there's one coming down that way.
So is the street, it's quite a busy road and it has one lane on both sides, is that correct? And then when you turn left into, did you say Morayfield Road?
Yes, so the street I come walking to from my house, there's it's like a straight footpath and then there's this traffic next to me that goes like that and they turn left. The only way that they can turn is left.
Okay.
And then there's that one that goes like that, and then there's one that goes like that.
So I just because people will listen to this. So when you say go left, so they go left, and then there's the other traffic that
That goes
comes from the
straight.
right-hand side,
Yeah.
and they're going straight across. So
Yeah.
it's like a T-junction sort of thing.
And then once you cross that traffic, there's this other side of traffic. Like there's like an island after that first set of traffic
Yeah.
that I was talking about, and then there's this island, and then there's the traffic on the other side
Yeah.
to the right, but they're coming down.
Yeah, so
They're
you're
coming the opposite way.
Okay, so basically what you're saying, if I've got this correct, is you have to deal with crossing a very busy street where drivers may or may not be aware of your presence because they're very focused on turning where they can turn, and then you've got to do that in 3 or 4 goes.
Yeah.
Basically, is that one intersection that you're talking about?
Yeah, and even sometimes waiting for the traffic takes like another 5 minutes. So you just stand there for a really long time, and then you can go because there's no like pedestrian crossing that goes across.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Can takes more than 5 minutes, mostly like 10 minutes just to wait for the crossing.
Yeah, and if you went the long way round, would you still have to navigate that intersection, or would it be just sort of if you did the 15 minutes and there you are, you would never have to navigate that intersection? Is that right?
It goes under the road, but it's a really sketchy environment there. That's why I hate going under there.
Right.
And I'd rather wait because it's in a place where no one can see and there's not much people that go there. So,
Yeah. So for your personal safety,
Yeah.
you feel it's really unsafe.
And I've had it like experiences. We've had experience where there was people that were following us and stuff. It was so uncomfortable. I just hate going that way.
Yeah, of course, and it is personal safety, particularly for women, is an issue,
Yeah.
and that's not going to change as you get older, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So it would be really great if we could change that. And what about you? If you weren't dropped off, because you said you walk, I think,
Oh, no,
and
I take the
you
bus,
get the bus.
yeah.
What's the bus service like?
It's very crowded, especially in the afternoons. It's like everyone's there and there's no seats, so some people have to stand up and like while the bus is moving.
Is that a school bus, or
Yeah,
is that an anything
A
bus?
school bus, and it drops people from our school off to their like where they live, around where they live.
So is that one that just Caboolture High School you sort of hires in order to drop the kids home, or is that a school bus that might stop at several schools on the way home?
Oh no, it's just for Caboolture, but there are some buses that take like other schools like St. Columban's or.
Okay, so this is just for Cabo High School. And how direct is the route? So, you know, if you were to drive from here to home, how long does that take?
Probably like 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
In the afternoons, it goes through the highway, so it takes like a little longer.
So when you drive, it takes 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
When you go by bus, it takes how long?
Definitely longer, like probably 7 minutes to 10.
Okay, but it's not, 20, 30, 40 minutes. You're not having to do a massive detour. Well, that's one good thing. The purpose of these conversations is to, if you were speaking to somebody who devises policy for transportation, so there are some people who are professionals in this space who listen to these podcasts, and the purpose of these podcasts that I'm doing, not just with you guys but with other people who don't drive, is so that policy makers can think, well, what are we doing for people who don't drive? What's the infrastructure we're creating? What are the transport conditions that we're creating? So, all right, you've got a magic wand and you've got a wish list and you've got wings and you can say anything at all, doesn't matter how crazy or whatever, to make your journey safe and comfortable, which is what you are in a car. You're safe and you're comfortable. So if it was safe and comfortable and quick, what ideas do you think would be really good for them to implement? You can't drive, so it's not about you being able to drive. But maybe they might do bicycle lanes, maybe they might design the intersection so it's more pedestrian friendly, maybe the bus service could be better, maybe that sketchy underpass could have, would be better designed so you didn't have a sketchy underpass, you didn't have dodginess, whatever, as you walked. So what's your wish list?
I'd say something I struggled with when I used to catch the same bus as him
Yeah.
was, like you said, it was very crowded. So I think adding like another bus for that one because it's really full. And then there's another bus that also goes to the same place as our bus is 11, and there's another one but number 9, the last time I took that bus, it took like 30 minutes, like more than bus 11. Like it's really long. And they go like in Caboolture and they go around and then they go other places, and it just takes very long. So I think adding another bus 11 would be really good because every seat is filled and you're sitting like shoulder to shoulder with people on the bus. It's really uncomfortable, especially in summer and everyone's hot and sweaty and stinky. Like you gotta sit right next to them. It's just really uncomfortable. So I think maybe adding like another bus.
And just about that, have you ever had other students be inappropriate with you in their behaviour by sitting so close?
Not in a way physically, but verbally, yes. Like there's been like conversations next to me that I don't like hearing. Or there's like the other day, there was just racist comments right next to me.
Okay.
And it was just, I don't like being so close to people and hearing all that. So.
Yeah. Was it towards you or was it about
it was
other people?
towards another person that was right across from me. But it was like, I was like in the middle.
Okay, so it put you in an awkward, like, piggy in the middle kind of situation. Yeah, so another bus, and I totally understand about the bus route number 9 because the whole reason I started Get Around Cabo Car Free is because I got on a bus and it took forever. And I just said, I'm not having it on my watch. So that's why I started it. Okay, what about you two? What's your wish list?
So when I ride the bike around here, like locally, the roads are really bumpy. Like especially the bikes are really bumpy.
Yeah.
So there's a hole on the sidewalk.
And they're very small.
Yeah, so the paths are very narrow. They're very uncomfortable. They're very rough, and it's broken and everything. And I know because I came into Lee Street from Charles Street.
Yeah.
I just went, is this legal to be so close and dangerous like that? Because you don't even get a ramp from Charles Street onto Charles Street to come into Lee Street. You don't even have a ramp. Because I think Lee Street is a school with a lot of children with disabilities. Is that correct? Yeah. So I'm amazed that that's not more tactile, more auditory, generally much slower. Yeah. I would have thought that Queensland or the Transport and Main Roads was breaching their obligations for safe children's transport. So you said narrow and bumpy. Yeah. And what else? And bike racks, we've talked about that. Definitely that would make a huge difference. Anything else because you use different forms of transport, anything else?
Could I add something?
Yeah.
When I was talking about how sometimes I have to catch the train, you know how you have to have go-cards and all that? Another thing is, like, I work in Morayfield as well. It's like Caboolture Square. I work there. Sometimes when my mum works early in the morning before I start, I have to, like, either get the train, which I have to walk to, or there's, like, a bus stop, like, near my house. But the prices, like, for a student just to get to, like, school, like if I had to catch a non-school bus, I'd have to pay for it with my own money. I feel like students should have like a temporary like go card which they can use for like a smaller amount than they have to pay for like than other adults, if that makes sense.
So you don't get a discount price on your ordinary go card. It's a full adult price, or you do get a discount but not very much.
There's a concession card, but there's like $1 difference. So
how much is your price? What is the price if you're an adult, and what's the price if you're on the concession? Do you know?
From what I remember, the last time from my bus route to there, it was like $6 for an adult and like $5 for like a concession. And
you don't have to answer this question. How much are you paid an hour?
$15 an hour.
Okay, so that's taken off $5 from that. So if you had to, at the end of the day, say, go back. Yeah,
that's all my work, done.
You actually completely lose any sense of why would you even bother. There's 1/3, that's 1/3 of an hour.
Yeah.
So you basically, your bus journey costs you 20 minutes of your working time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, why am I even paying for this when I'm half of 20 minutes of my shift is just going to go to me going home? Like, there's no point.
Yeah.
So I was like, at this point, I'd rather walk an hour and 30 minutes than lose that 20 minutes of my pay.
Yeah, that's a really, really
Yeah.
interesting point. That's great.
So
Yeah.
that 1 hour that you just said, it also can like waste time because when we go home, because I mostly go home and then study, so I could use that 1 hour to study more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you feel that your marks are reduced, like your academic achievements are
Yeah.
reduced by the fact that you don't have good transport?
Time. Yeah.
Yeah. So that extra hour, and is that every day that you would have to deal with that, or how many times a week is that you have to deal with that?
I'll say 4 times a week.
Yeah. So that's a lot. And how many hours in a day do you study?
More than 15 hours.
In a week?
In a week, yeah.
Okay, so that's taking off. That's actually that's a quarter of your time, actually. Do you find that hour walking, do you find that helps your creative thinking?
No, I would just like think what to do next and next.
So it helps with your planning, but not really with your integration of your studies. Yeah, right. That's a huge thing. And what about you? We haven't heard so much about your transport wish list. What do you think you would have?
I'm not too sure, but I definitely would say like something about the sidewalks, because there's been a couple times where I've like almost tripped or like hurt myself. You know, the other day I saw a hole on the ground.
Yeah.
It was just like sitting there, and if I didn't see, I would have like broke my foot or something.
Yeah, right. And is that here or is that somewhere else?
Around on my way to the bus stop. 'Cause,
Okay.
like, from my house to the bus stop is like a pretty long walk.
And what's the area around the bus stop like?
It's just grass. It's just grass, and we just wait there on the patch of grass. There's no like pathways to get there. We have to cross the street,
And how busy is the street?
it's just like in the state, so it's not too busy, but sometimes there's like a couple cars.
Yeah. And one of the things that I have heard from about kids, and I've seen it, is kids cycling and drivers not seeing them sort of colliding. Have you guys ever had that experience or seen that experience?
Well, one of my friends in class 8 have one of their siblings got hit by a car with the electric scooter.
Yeah.
Like they haven't paid attention, like they're over speed. It should be like 40s, but they're driving like 60 or 70 in the school zone, so it was bad.
And so the student got hit by the car by somebody 20 kilometres above the speed limit.
Yeah.
So just so you know, that fine, I've just been looking at speeding, and the speeding for cars and bicycles is the same, scooters is the same, and that's $1,200 or something like that. So that if those school zones had a speed camera, how do you feel about that? What difference would that make you feel in terms of your own personal safety using school zones and using spaces?
A lot more comfortable and safer when I cross the road, especially that pedestrian crossing that goes straight from the back gate to our school. It's like on Charles.
Those cameras, people would like speed less.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because there's a lot of times where when I'm trying to cross the road in that pedestrian crossing, a lot of cars don't stop. They just keep going, even though they see me standing and waiting at a pedestrian crossing, like where they're supposed to stop. I'm the one stopping, and there's like 2 or 3 cars that just keep going.
Yeah.
And yeah, most of the time that it feels like they're going a lot faster than 40. So I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, we used to do like back in 2016, 2017. They used to have those people they cross, like stand in the at the back gate, where the pedestrian, where they would stand there, and then there's many
lollipop
students
ladies.
and they would cross, but they stopped doing that. They only do that on the primary school, no more on the high school.
So funding cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And what else would you like to say about, so we've been talking now a little bit about transportation, and maybe there's some other things that you've thought of since we've been having the conversation, other problems. Maybe, any of you have carer responsibilities where you have to take a younger sibling, a younger brother or sister, or maybe another relative, a mother or an auntie or an uncle, someone to somewhere else? Do you have to support somebody, and what's the transportation like for that?
I have 2 younger siblings that go to that primary school, and I have to walk there and pick them up with my other cousin who has a younger siblings there. But most of the time we wait for my mum to finish work, but she works all the way in Bribie and finishes when I finish school, so it's like another hour or 30 minutes we have to wait. Or sometimes another option is I catch the train with them, but again I don't like doing that because of that sketchy bridge. I don't like it because again, if something happened like with my siblings there, it'd be such a struggle to get them to like move and understand the situation, because I feel like they're too young to understand that things like that can happen. So having them with me, because they're so young, it's so hard to get them to understand like there's hazards everywhere, and there's like crossing that road as well is really hard to like get them to like, come on, let's go, we gotta cross the road, and they get scared or like they don't listen properly, like, or they're too slow crossing the road and there's cars coming, because there's no direct stop for the cars, like they don't just stop for us, we've got to make sure we cross the road like in time before more cars come. So I'd say with my siblings it's really difficult to like get home safely with them and like without feeling like anxious, holding their hands as I'm crossing the road in case like, oh, one of them wants to just start running, then what am I supposed to do, like yell at them to come back and they won't listen? Like, it's, you never know, I just have so many thoughts in my head, like hoping that they just listen, because they don't like listening to me.
Yeah,
it's just
big sisters. But you know, that shows you the real world implications of having this terrible infrastructure. I've just started reading about transport funding allocations and design, and it's all been focused on middle class men commuting from the suburbs into town to their office job. So that's the way that most funding is allocated, and it's the way the most of it is designed, and that's why roads are quick, trains are quick. So most funding goes on those two modes for commuting, and only maybe 10% of all transport funding is designed for other people. The fact that there is that huge difference, I've told you this piece of information. What does that make you feel about your place in society? So you're at high school, and you said year 11, so you've got one more year to go, and then you're at uni. So in terms of your sense of how you feel your needs are important and valued, and where you want to go to in life, what sort of impact do you feel about that? Am I making myself clear? You don't understand. Okay, so what I'm saying is, does that feel like, because there's almost no transport infrastructure for you, do you feel that your journeys are as valued as the commuter journey for the men driving and training into town?
They prioritize like roads more than like people who don't have cars, and it makes like me, someone that can't drive yet, like not as important as everyone else. It's like putting me to the side, putting like everyone else to the side.
And so what would you like to say to the people who decide actually on the funding allocations about that? You don't feel valued in your transportation needs. Is there anything that you think you would like to say about why is that way, or how would you like to do it differently?
How to say what I think?
Yes.
So the money that they have, they decide to spend 90, would we say?
Yeah.
90% of that on making sure that men who live here can get to Brisbane quickly. So you live here and you live 10 minutes away, and 10% of that money is spent on what you need. 90% of that money is spent on people travelling out of the area. Meanwhile, your pathways are bumpy and broken. There's a dodgy bridge, there's a hole in the ground, your bus goes way off somewhere and then comes back again. Do you think that's fair? If someone came to you and said, look, this is how we spend our money, we're going to spend all of it on the roads for the white businessmen, or businessmen, I added in white there, we're going to spend, sorry.
But it was because it's designed for, it was designed in the 50s, 60s and 70s, and there was white businessmen actually.
Yes. So we're focused on how we can get people out of the area and to Brisbane in the quickest way.
And through Caboolture and Morayfield, not here in Caboolture and Morayfield. Okay, what would you like to say?
Does it have to be in this area?
You can just put whatever you like.
Okay, so my family, we always go down to the south, because my mum works, sometimes she works down the south because she have business down there. She would take the tolls, which is faster. And here, is there any way we can make it faster, like bus lane? because in the city they have bus lane,
Yep.
but here they don't have bus lane.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. So this would be, do you think on Murrayfield Road and King Street, for instance, is that what you're thinking of?
Like
Beerburrum Road?
Yeah. So like we live near the hospital, so I was thinking, can we have like the bus lane, the emergency that can use that lane, and we have the road lane, so that could reduce the traffic, because at school we have lots of traffic and there's emergency, and it's hard to make road for the emergency as well. So can we use that bus lane for emergency and bus to do that quicker?
Genius.
Yeah.
Genius. I love that
think,
idea.
You know, like with crossings, like through intersections, how there's like two that go like this. So let's say there's like a square intersection, and there's one that goes, they basically go like in a square.
Yeah.
I think in the city, how there's like just one big crossing where all the people can just start crossing left, right, wherever.
Yep.
I think that'd be really nice, because that square intersection between the schools, it's just like you've got to wait like 5 minutes, and the timer only goes for like 5 seconds, and you've got to be across the road, and it's like for old people as well, like if they're in wheelchairs or something, you can't get them past. Mothers with strollers, like they can't get there in 5 seconds, especially if they've got their own kids like walking with them. So I think what Brisbane has with their like crossing for like 20 seconds and everyone can go just all directions is really good, because you don't have to wait like multiple like minutes just to cross one section, and then you cross one, then you got to go to the other side, so you got to go 2 times, so you got to wait double the time. So yeah, I think just that one big crossing for people to go wherever they need on the whatever side of the road that they want, that would be really nice to have here. Yeah, because I always like crossing in Brisbane because it's just quicker, and you don't have to wait 2 times to go on the other side of the road. So yeah, I think that would be really nice to have added in our area.
That's great. Yeah, I think too. You know, particularly down Caboolture River Road, those big intersections, that is really that, and it makes it feel like you're safe because everybody walks, so you're not having to negotiate cars and things. Yeah, what would you like to say? You haven't got anything else? And so we'll probably wrap it up there, I think. What else would you like to add? Final last wishes, thoughts, ideas? What was it like for you to talk about transportation? Did it make you understand transportation differently, or?
I mean, I've always thought like I was the only person that thought this transportation stuff sucks. Like crossing roads is so difficult, but I thought that was just like personal thing. I didn't know so many other people had the same issues. So yeah, I thought it was just also me being lazy, not wanting to go under there. So I was like, should I just cross the road, like, because apparently it's illegal, it's like jaywalking to like cross without the actual crossing, but I'm like, I don't want to risk my safety just to go down there. But I was like, maybe I'm just being lazy, so sometimes I actually go under the bridge, but like sometimes I run under the bridge because I get really scared.
Yeah.
But yeah, hearing like that you guys actually have like a business and everything about transportation needs, like it's really good to hear that our thoughts can be heard now.
Yeah.
Not just kept to ourselves.
Yeah. So the legal requirement is that you can cross any street as long as it's 20 meters or 100 meters from the intersection.
Okay.
I'll have to look that up. I have done that episode. Actually, you can look that up on our episode. So the episode is called Streets and People, and I do a whole lot of Road Rules 360, and it's a guy who retired from the Transport and Main Roads, and his job was road rules, and he and I talk about each of the road rules for people who don't drive, one by one. So have a look on that.
Okay.
And I think it's 20 metres, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so anything else each of you would like to say?
Ask me.
Yeah.
What?
Do you have anything that you want to add? Because you drive here as well.
I drive here.
I think there should be a lollipop lady back at the back gate again, because that is a traffic nightmare in the afternoon, because people cross, members of the community are crossing, and that people don't stop for the pedestrian crossing.
They don't
Just because you're in
attention to children around it. They just want to I want to get stuff quickly, and like they're in a rush. There's always
And high school students are just as important as primary school students. Like, little kids have little to no road sense, we know that. And then they just assume as soon as you're 13, you know how to cross a road safely.
Yeah.
But sometimes.
And sometimes
no, they would just look on their phone and then headphones.
But I think you're right when you say when you're walking, narrow paths,
And
they could...
sometimes we have to step on the side for the bikes to walk past, but like it's very narrow. Like you can't fit
If
two
it's
people.
one person.
Yeah.
Like only one people, and you would have to walk on the grass.
And I see like lots of people in the community walking, not just students. I see a lot of people. This is quite a busy area. There's a hospital, there's a daycare centre, there's 2 primary schools. Yeah.
So I did some rough calculations. So across the country, I was told that about 4 in 10 people can't drive. So somebody else who is a professional in this space, she said that. I think here in Caboolture we have a high number of single mums, so you have lots of kids, you have people on low incomes, you have a lot of people with disabilities, you also have people maybe who've come out of jail who don't have a car, you also have people who are seniors, like old people, and you have a lot of young kids. So I think it's about every second person here in Caboolture and Morayfield does not drive. And do we have the transport infrastructure that mirrors that need? No, we don't. And so my hope is that by having these kinds of conversations, we can start to get some changes happening. And I also want to say thank you very much to our lovely deaf interpreter. One of the students here has some hearing issues. So it's very nice that you have been able to participate as well as to do the translating. And anything else you guys would like to add?
No.
Look, I've just really enjoyed the conversation. I don't know what your career paths are, but if you're mathematically inclined or if you're interested in transportation or urban design or street design, I would strongly encourage you to look into that. This is obviously, firsthand that experience. So if this is something of interest, there is a lot of engagement with having more people who are more creative in their thinking, who know the experience of bad infrastructure. So I'm just super delighted with your ideas. I thought your one was genius about the emergency vehicle, and the implications for that. And I was sorry to hear that you had almost twisted your foot, and you have a really dodgy bridge you're under. So just that's it. That's all I have to say. I think we're good. That's my pleasure. That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for enjoying Streets and People presented by Get Around Cabo Car Free. We publish our podcast regularly at the usual places and on our website where you can find out more about us. getaroundcabocarfree.com.au. That's www.getaround, get around, that's pretty straightforward. Cabo, C-A-B-O, that's short for Caboolture. Car Free, C-A-R-F-R-E-E. There's no hyphen in that. .com.au. Our theme music is The Thief on AM Sound, which is just like our cars on our streets, always stealing the space. So let's stop that thief.